Hey guys and girls, welcome back to Josh's RC Adventures and DIY channel. On today's episode, I'm going to show you how to make a Deadman switch. Not sure what a Deadman switch is? Basically, it's just a switch that's going to complete your circuit. It's very easy to use, and it's not hard to install or make yourself. Literally, all you do is make a jumper, plug it in, if you can. And there you go. Your truck is on. See, I have power. Now, let's say your buddy wants to stop and take a little photo shoot. That's cool. Now you don't have to take off your accessories like with this truck, these trx-4. You know, you can't access the chassis when the body's on. You have to take the body off. So, what do? You make a Deadman switch. When you want to turn it off, you just pull the battery. That's all you have to do. Now, the truck is off. There's no power to it. If you guys and girls are interested in what you see, and you would like to have one of these on your truck, stick around. I'll show you how to make it and the tools you're going to need. Alright, here's the tools you're going to need. First of all, you're going to need a good soldering iron, solder, and a little holder to hold your wires and your connectors as you solder them together. Second thing, you're going to need your styrene and all your stuff for your styrene, your glue, etc. The third thing, glue sticks and a hot glue gun to hold those switches in place. Fourth thing, you need a good trusty ruler, nice fresh new razor blades, and a good sturdy X-Acto knife. Fourth thing you're going to need some heat shrink, plenty of wire, and connectors of your choice. The sixth thing you're going to need is a heat gun. The heat gun doesn't really play no part in this job except for your heat shrink. So if you don't have a heat gun, don't worry about it. You could always use a lighter. Eighth thing you're going to need is a good sanding stick and a good piece of sanding paper, so you can really put some pressure down on those styrene pieces. The ninth and 10th thing you're going to need, which aren't really important, but they do play a key part, is a speed square. So you know you have perfect 90-degree corners. Now, if you're like me and you're getting on the older side and your eyes don't work like they used to, a magnifying glass could play a crucial part when you're putting those corners together and soldering those wires. Alright, so I've shown you what a Deadman switch does, how it operates, and what you're going to use it for. I've shown you the tools that you need to use it, to make it, and the material to make it out of. Sorry, I can't talk today. Now, if you're still interested and you're still hanging around, this is where you're going to start this build. Now I have to warn you, it is a little intense and it does take some skill. You're making something out of your bare hands and you're soldering wire. So if you don't think you could do this, it might be a good idea just go to the store and buy your own Deadman switch. They do sell them. I'm not sure of the companies, but I have seen them out there. I just like to make my own things. So if you like it, stick around and you're going to make one with me. So the first piece you're going to want to make is your jumper. And it's really easy to make. All you're going to do is take one Dean's plug and take a little wire just like this, and you're going to shape it just like that. That is going to be your jumper. That's what's going to go into whatever scale accessory you want to make. Once you solder your jumper, it should look something like this. Now don't worry, it doesn't have to be pretty. You're not going to see it at all. The only thing that's going to be visible are these two prongs coming out the bottom of whatever scale accessory you're going to put it in. The next thing we're going to do is we are going to build our scale accessory that we're going to put this jumper into. So all you really have to do is come up with whatever shape or accessory you want and just make sure you make it big enough to insert that little Dean's plug. Okay, so now since you're starting to get your scale accessory built, which I'm just making another battery because I'm pretty good at batteries, and I'm pretty new at this myself too. So once you get your 4 sides built, I'm going to show you a little secret for the bottom. Hold on. So for me, what I like to do is once I get my actual shape built, I guess, like the outer walls of it, like this battery right here that you see, what I like to do now is I will just place it on a sheet of styrene and then trace around it, and 98% of the time it's going to give you the perfect size for your bottom or top. Okay, now what you want to do with this piece is you're going to want to put it down. You're going to want to take your jumper that you made, and you want what you're going to want to do is put this on the bottom and mark where these fins are, because you're going to cut out that exact shape on the bottom, because that's going to be poking through. Like I said, you won't see none of this. All this will be in that box. The only thing you're going to see are these poking through the bottom. When you're done, you should have something that looks like this. Sometimes you might overcut it, but you know what? We're all beginners here. Even I am. I only have like 3-month experience with this stuff. So, but if you want, you could always cut another piece and redo it. I'm not too worried about it. I think it's going to look pretty good once it's all painted. So, but that you should have something that looks like that now, and that is going to be the bottom of the battery. Now once you have this constructed, you should have something that looks about like this. Okay, this is what it is. This is your box. Now if your corners look really bad, this is a great thing about styrene. It welds together, so you could sand it. You can even sand these corners into round edges. Once you weld them together, they basically become one piece. But you should have something that looks about like this now. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of pliers, and you're going to take your Dean's plug, and you're going to put it to where your tabs are sticking out the bottom of those. Alright, you should have something that resembles this now. Now if you paint this battery black, chances are you won't see those holes if you messed up like I did. Now the thing is the reason you want your holes kind of bigger are these little springs right on this side and that side. That's what makes it push that connector into the other Dean's plug. So if you make these gaps too small, you're going to push those, and that's also what keeps them plugged in together. So if those are smashed down, it's going to unplug too easy, and it might not even make a good circuit. Now when you have it all glued together and you got your plug in exactly how you want it, this is where the super glue, the hot glue is going to come into play, and you're basically going to fill it up halfway or above the plug. What this is going to do is it's going to ensure to make that plug stay in place when you're plugging and unplugging it. Now unplugging it's not really an issue because it's being forced against the bottom, but when you plug it into your truck, since you know the box is higher than the plug, you don't want the plug to push up, so you want plenty of glue in there to hold it in place. Now I know styrene does not do well with heat, but the heat of hot glue does not really affect it, so don't be too worried. Now when you're done with the hot glue gun, now it's time to make the top. So I just do the same thing that I did to the bottom, and I'll just lay it on there and trace out the shape. And as you see, I've already done that. So we're going to glue that part on, and that'll be the top of the battery. Now, since this is not really gluing and it's welding, remember, before you put that top on, you have that Dean's plug exactly how you want it, because once you weld this top onto the box, you are not getting back in this box unless you literally cut it open and destroy it. Okay? So make sure it's how you want it, make sure it works, test it before, make sure it's all the way in there before you weld it together. Okay guys? One thing I forgot to tell you guys, before you put that top on and weld it on, make sure all your glue is totally dry, because once you weld it on, if you have really good welds, it's going to become airtight and that glue will never dry. So make sure it's totally dry. The best way I found for that much hot glue is after you pour it in there, put it in the fridge or the freezer. It'll dry in like 5 minutes, 100%. So do that, and then you can put your top on. Now, since you finished the sanding process and put your cap on, you should have something that's starting to resemble a battery. Now, when you paint this, these seams, they will disappear. The only thing you want to do is when you're sanding, just make sure you cannot feel them with your fingers, and it will be fine once you paint it. You won't see any of these seams. What I like to do is, you know, batteries are pretty square, but they do have some rounded edges. So when you sand, if you could tell, these edges, they're not perfectly square. They are rounded. It's really easy to do it. All you have to do is just put it down here like that, and as you go back and forth, just walk it like that as you go back and forth, and it'll give you some round edges just like that. So now the next step is to detail your battery. Put some posts on, you can put some handles on, you can put the caps on for the water, whatever you want. The sky's the limit. As soon as you guys are happy with your battery and the way it looks, pretty much the only thing left to do is make your wire harness, and I will show you how to do that. Awesome. So you guys are still with me. Are you liking the build so far? I think it's going to work good, don't you? Now this is the part for the wiring harness that's going to go in between the ESC and the battery that's going to make this kill switch operable. Now I'm not going to go through and show you guys how to solder and everything else. If you're building this build, I take it you already know how to solder. So this is just a little diagram of what you're going to be doing, and it's really easy. So this is your battery, this is your ESC. This is going to be your jumper in between those two. That's going to make this kill switch complete. Now, the jumper that's in your scale battery you just built is a male Dean's connector. The female Dean's connector is going to be right here. And where you're going to put that is you're going to put it somewhere flush on your body, just like that. Just nice and flush, so the battery just looks like it's sitting on the bed. Okay? But underneath the bed, this is what's going on. So, you get the plug of your choice, whatever your batteries and ESC has on it for the plug is the plug you're going to want to use. So get those two plugs and your female Dean's plug. Now the negative are going to stay the same on the connectors, but the positive, instead of putting a wire directly to a connector, you're going to run it up to the female Dean's plug and then run it back down. It doesn't matter how you solder it, it's just making the connection. So it's not a hot and positive, it's not a hot and negative, it's just both hot wires. So it doesn't matter which arm you put the wire on. But that is going to be your jumper, and that's what's going to make this Deadman switch work. So, and like I said, I'm not going to show you how to do it. If you would like to know how to do it, I can make a whole video on how to solder, how to crimp things, everything. If you would like to watch that video, comment down below, and if I get enough comments, I'll make it. But for this video today, I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. This is the connector that you're going to use, that you're going to make your Deadman switch work. Well, thank you guys for following along. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope your battery looks good. I hope you're happy with it. And I hope it's going to change the way you RC. I know it's going to change for me. Not having to take off my battery and all my accessories is going to be a lifesaver. And I'm going to love it. So, guys, until the next video, I'll see you guys later. Have a great day and keep RCing.